It's a great pleasure to be here. Difficult task to clean up after all of those wonderful readings. Such a pleasure to listen to them. I don't have an elevator pitch. I know I'm supposed to have an elevator pitch, but you know, one of the things about novels is that, particularly if you have a complicated novel, it's like hard to have like that one sentence thing, right? And you kind of wish you had zombies, because in zombies that gets them every time. But this is a complicated book, and you've read it, and you know, it has 6 point of view characters, and it takes place over many years, and it has several intersecting storylines, and that also makes it difficult to sort of know what to read from it, because there's no sort of representative section of it. But I'll tell you a little bit about the book, and then I'll read a non-representative section of the book. The book is really about the consequences of family and political violence on a family, and over time. And also, actually, I like one of the blurbers, Monroe, actually also described it this way, that she described this as a love story squared. Which I think is, there's my elevator pitch, it's a love story squared. That tells you nothing about the book. The novel, the engine of the novel, the catalyst for the novel is there's a woman who has killed her husband and 3 of her children and left one of her children with her mother. This stuff happens like all the time in Texas. It's hard. I don't know, there's something about Texas that happens. And so I became obsessed with one of those stories, and that became kind of the source of the novel. It's 12 years after that happens, the woman who is in prison for this horrendous crime contacts her mother because she wants to visit with her now 17-year-old son, and hijinks ensue. You know, it's easy for me to kind of sort of make flippant comments about it, because this is kind of a dark book in a way. I mean, there's a lot of dark stuff that happens here, but there's also a lot of things in the book that aren't so dark. So I'm going to read a little bit of one of those sections to you today. It doesn't need any setup. The Birnbaum clan operated on a complex matrix of official and unofficial knowledge, history, misinformation, rumor, myth, verified truth, and outright speculation. Some of what people knew could be acknowledged publicly, and other things could not. Occasionally, a member has the full story. Usually, people knew about half the facts, and now and again, rarely, someone is entirely out of the loop. Aries' mother, for example, knows that Hannah smoked pot regularly last summer with her best friend at sleepover camp, because Aries' mother found Hannah's diary, because Aries put Hannah's diary where Aries' mother could find it. But because Aries' mother doesn't want her daughter to know that she has read said diary, Aries' mother's knowledge must remain unacknowledged knowledge, meaning that at the same time that she is free to lecture her daughter about the evils of drugs and to wring her hands at the breakfast table while airing her suspicions about her daughter's sketchy behavior, she cannot, alas, lower the official boom. Similarly, Aries' mother believes that Aries also knows about Hannah's diary, knows about Hannah's druggy ways, because Aries' mother is no fool, and she knows that diary didn't land in her path by accident. But because she cannot acknowledge the fact that she has, in fact, read the diary, she is also unable to confront her son about violating his sister's privacy or for having left it there for her to read in the first place. Nor is she willing to give him the satisfaction of either reveling in his sister's punishment for what is in fact partially his own moral failing, nor for that matter can she acknowledge her son's crime to his sister, which would then, she knows, allow Hannah to occupy the moral high ground, which she most certainly does not deserve. She is further unwilling to validate for that manipulative bastard of a son of hers, who has of late mounted a vigorous campaign to catch her in the act, the fact that as a mother she does snoop on her children, as is her right, but because she wants her daughter to believe that she believes in children's privacy and children's rights, values the children's father holds dear, and that he also believes that he and his wife share, even if the truth is that she believes her husband to be full of shit about this and about a lot of other things as well, she cannot acknowledge browsing her children's notebooks, computers, dresser drawers, and jeans pockets in search of evidence of their self-destructive and or illicit behaviors, and having her suspicions in fact borne fruit, witness the condoms and strangely colored pills and seed-like things in Hannah's pockets, among other sordid findings just these past few months, and don't even mention the diary. And therefore, she is also has to officially pretend that she and Harry both don't know what they do know about his sister and each other, which would include most or all of the above, depending on which of them you're talking about. And, for the record, Ari also knows that the diary that he left for his mother to find is not, in fact, Hannah's real diary. That tome, a phenomenally badly written and deliciously lurid accounting of his bitch of a sister's actual life experiences, Hannah did a much better job of hiding. The fake diary has been created, Ari knows, for the same reason that he left the diary, the fake diary, for his mother to find, so that Hannah can verify once and for all, so that Hannah can first verify once and for all what an evil and hateful shrew their mother really is to invade her privacy in that way, and second, to deflect the stupid woman's attentions away from behavior that even with Hannah's own perverted moral barometer, she knows are well beyond pale, and toward the gentler and more mildly out of control Hannah, the girl you might sit down with for a stern and loving chat, as opposed to the girl you would send to military school. In spite of an effort that both her mother and brother acknowledge merits commendation, but still unbeknownst to Hannah, Ari and his mother have both located the secret compartment built into the back of the inside of her mother's French provincial vanity, constructed from duct tape and a used jiffy bag. And although, with a family like this one, you could never be sure, Hannah feels confident in her genius and in the fact that her secrets are safe. And while it is unfathomable to Hannah that her mother would refrain from confronting her on the activities documented in that book, what is actually unfathomable to her mother is that Hannah's behavior could possibly be any worse than that which is reported in the fake diary, and therefore Hannah's mother has been unable to bring herself to actually read the real one. In her least rational moments, she convinces herself that the real diary documents the wholesome adventures of a chaste and naively sweet Jewish girl from the southwest suburbs of St. Louis, obsessed with puppies and with the latest gossip about the equally wholesome and chaste teen star who, also a virgin, will wed her daughter in a stunning garden ceremony, preferably in the late spring. Even on her best days, Hannah's mother can only sustain that fantasy for a matter of minutes, and she has faced the realization that in some perverse way, the existence of the real diary confirms the awful truths contained in the fake ones, truths which by themselves are all the evidence she needs to operate in full prison mode. So, Hannah's mother watches her daughter like a hawk, which Hannah's mother also knows thrills that brother of hers to no end. Neither Ari nor his mother knows for a fact that the other knows of the existence of the real diary, from which Ari has read on numerous occasions, and with what he feels is an appropriate amount of horrified disgust. Every word is true, he knows, in the way that only a slightly older brother can know such things. Boys talk. In his most charitable moment, Ari believes that it is his duty to protect his parents from the ugly truth, because wouldn't they just absolutely die if they knew how much of a major skank they had living under their roof? But charity not being his strongest suit, he also knows that he would have zero qualms about dropping a filth-filled bottom of Hannah on his parents' heads, and therefore he hoards his lewd jewels the way his grandmother hoarded sour balls. You never knew when you would need a little something something, as Grandma has been known to say, and in this case, one of these days he would be busted for something major, and when that happened, the big guns were loaded and ready to blow, as apparently was his system at the time.